Okay, wow. It happens to all YouTubers eventually. I was going a million miles an hour recording and didn't record a thing because the mic was off. Yeah, so anyway, I gotta start over. And so this take probably won't be nearly as clever because I used up all my cleverness. All right. So we have our list of things as promised, future videos. I have two things down at the bottom that are like special. Well, one of them, Adopted Son Part 3, is coming out next weekend, so that's kind of doesn't count. The other one is a bonus episode. My wife is going to give her side of David Koresh Try to Destroy My Marriage from her point of view. She'll tell her story. It's going to be dark and it's going to be stressful for her, so that's when she gets around to it. So, yeah. Um, I don't know when that's going to happen. Okay. So, number one, Florence Houteff, Vilified and Underappreciated. That would be about Florence Houteff and her story. Young woman marries the prophet Victor Houteff. She's loyal, hardworking, extremely talented, very devout. Have a source, an old time Davidian who knew her personally. So yeah, I can interview him and get some more information, and we can do some stuff on her. Modern Davidians do not like her. They think she's apostate, horrible, because she dissolved the organization, or at least was part of it. Consequently, they divided the money up back to where the money came from as best they could. And yeah, they know likey, including the Branch Davidians. Benjamin Roden and Lois Roden also did not like her. Okay, I'm trying to get better sound and lean closer to the microphone these days. That's why I'm kind of leaning in here. If you see my big face. Anyway, number two, more Bible errors like Rahab. You know, I did a video the other day, went into detail about a Bible error, Rahab. If you want to hear more about that, maybe we could do more of that. Plenty more of that came from. More detailed explanation of growing at Branch Davidian. So my wife did a video. I could do one. I told a funny story about, I thought the end of the world was coming when I was in elementary school. I could tell more of those stories. Yeah, detailed analysis of confusion. That's a tape of a study in South Carolina given by Vernon Howell. There's arguments. There's a woman, Lori, there arguing with him fiercely. Eventually, she leaves because he gives her a bad answer to a question. She feels like there's no point in staying because and his answer is really dumb. I don't know why he answered her the way that he did. Anyway, I could analyze that tape, take us through it. There's a lot of fascinating material on there because it's an argument. That's when you learn the most about David Koresh, is when he's arguing with other people and trying to defend himself. He actually talks about how he hears the voice and how, well, he knows it's God, just automatically knows it because reasons. And yeah, so we could talk about that. That would be interesting. Discussion of meeting with Steve in 1990 concerning the word indite. That's the word in Psalm 45. Show and tell. I have a letter that I received probably from David Koresh. It is not, as you can see, it does not have a return address. Obviously, the person that sent this wanted to be anonymous for some reason. It's addressed to my address where I was living at the time in Fontana, California, which was near Pomona, where they lived. And Dr. David Buns. Doctor, I'm a doctor, so that he's making fun of me because I was daring to write him a letter about what the word meant. You have to have a PhD to understand the meanings of words, apparently. Anyway, the letter is very short. It's dated October 28th, 1990, so a very long time ago. To Dr. David Buns at my address. Well, yours truly, too much gas. So this letter, almost 100% certain that David Koresh dictated this letter and had it sent to me as a response to something I sent to him. It's puzzling in one way because in the Wisconsin tape that I uploaded to my alternate channel, he says, "Oh, if you love me, send me tapes and ask me questions and I'll answer." And I did, and I got Well, I mean, I guess it's an insult. I mean, his point of view is he would be thinking of himself as very clever and inspired sending this. Like this, oh, this is deep, you know, but yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, my last phone conversation, number 6. Yeah, you know, I taped it. Might be interesting. We argue about some things. You want to listen to me argue? The source of the problem, E.G. White, not a difference in kind, only in degree. Yeah, E.G. White, they had a 1919 Bible conference. The SDA were deciding, hey, how are we going to feel about Ellen G. White? What's her role in the church? You know, how inspired was she? The conservatives won that fight. Oh, she's 100% perfectly inspired, and everything she said is a little golden nugget of truth. That actually ties back into some things that went on in the confusion discussion up here in number 4. Yeah, it's fascinating. You know, Vernon having some good points in that thing. He wasn't all wrong. But the thing is the points he makes ultimately wrap around and bite him on the ass, in my opinion. You know, kind of like, well, if that's true about her, then you don't have a leg to stand on yourself. But he was very contrarian when it came to those kind of things. So kind of like, I think he felt he had like impenetrable shields. Could bitch about Ellen G. White all day, and it didn't affect him at all because, you know, whatever. He's the lamb or something. Okay. What did Koresh actually believe about Jesus Christ? So in other words, you know, what's the deal? Why? You know, obviously John 3:16, where they have that at sporting events, you know, for God so loved the world. What's the deal? Why would the Branch Davidians not understand that Jesus died for their sins? But it's, you know, they didn't believe that. Really, what it ends up being is, I just came up with this the other day. It's called New Testament nullification. You basically interpret the New Testament in some hyper-specific way to where, it's not for us, it's for them. It's for the people that lived in the New Testament times, not for us. Except for the Revelation. That's different. Okay. David Koresh and Madonna. He loved Madonna. He loved her song, Live to Tell. He thought he knew it. He didn't. He had a really weird interpretation of it. I knew the song better than him, and I got in trouble because we weren't supposed to listen to pop music. And I listened to it anyway because I was very disobedient, and I did what I wanted to do and used to get in trouble. And I love pop music and listened to all the 80s songs, which I wasn't supposed to do, but somehow I managed not to go to hell, at least not yet. Okay, so rebuilding the half-burned-out house, lesson in failure. I lived in that house. It was a house across the street from the house we lived in Waco that the woman who knew Lois Roden lent to us. Vernon promised to repair the house. Imagine this old house, Bob Vila, and you got this giant project, and you got Norm the carpenter coming on, and you've got to spend days and thousands of dollars to fix this house. That's the kind of project this was. Vernon thought he could fix it. He had really big ambitions, but no, he couldn't. He didn't have enough time. He didn't have enough knowledge. He didn't have enough organizational skills. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I could tell that story. It's fascinating. David Koresh hating on the Voyager space probe. The Voyager space probe was launched in 1977. It flew past Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Uranus, Neptune. When I was 16, I mentioned it to him one time. He went like diarrhea. Ugh, came out of his mouth, a big pile of garbage crap. He didn't know what the frick he was talking about. I know because I'm like a space nerd from 12 years old. Read piles of books. I used to go to the library and check out books and look at that kid. He's a freak. He's got all those books. What a nut job. Yeah. Read all of them and learned all about space and all that shit. So when David Koresh opened his mouth to talk about space, it was like boom, just barfing a bunch of garbage on the. Like I knew he was wrong. But see, I was 16, he was 22. Very intimidating. He talked a lot. He sounded like he knew what he was talking about, and I'm just like, you know, like but I knew he was wrong. Anyway, and then also the space shuttle. He shat on the space shuttle when it blew up in 1986 and said some pretty nasty things about space program and everything, and about Russia and all that crap. And then also in the Voyager space probe so that was Saturn encounter in 81, and then later on in 86 at my parents' house I had some books, and then he brought the whole stack of books to me and was like, David, you don't have time to read this stuff. We're on a mission from God, you know, because I'm wasting my time reading about science. And then what's funny is a few months later, hey David, where's all your astronomy books? We got a new member here, and he likes astronomy, and I want him to, in other words, he's trying to schmooze the new guy, David. Fuck him, sorry, try not to cuss too much on this channel. Okay. Number 12, me and Jimmy Riddle's not so fun day. So that was another logistical nightmare day. Probably that one's kind of boring. It's a short story. I'll probably add that one into, I don't know, one of these other ones. That's not really a separate thing. So nobody vote for 12. I'll figure that one out. It's a short story. It's really short. It's about me and Jimmy Riddle going to Palestine to set up the camp there when we were moving. And Vernon, we were in the process of moving out of the Waco house that I mentioned. And it is a lesson in logistical failure. That it's another lesson going along with the house lesson on basic logistical problems that most of us would solve like that. You just give it about 5 seconds of thought. Oh yeah, okay, you go here, you go there, no problem, boom, boom, boom. No, you can't. Vernon doesn't. No, it's very challenging for him. For whatever reason. I don't know why. It's not because he was dumb. I don't know. Whatever. So there you go. So that's the things. And then, like I said, 13, 14, 13's coming. Adopted Son, Part 3. Going to wrap it up. And then we got David Koresh, Try to Destroy My Marriage. From my wife's perspective, that's a future thing. Nobody vote for that because we don't know when that's coming. So vote for 1 through 11 right here. And when I say vote, I'm going to put up, you watch the video, and then tomorrow I will put up the multiple choice on the community page, the community tab, and people can vote. I'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll figure out how to vote. Whatever. I don't know. I don't. I'm winging this. I'm incredibly. I don't. The thing about me is I'm incredibly lazy. I don't know if you know that about me. I am. It's bad. My motto is, why do today what you can put off till tomorrow? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so yeah. Oh, the reason I'm so happy is because I got a new job today. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. It's nice to get a job where I'm going to make more money. And not only that, but unlimited overtime, which means I'll just be making all kinds of money. And I do need money because money's good and I need more. So yes, we always need more money. It's technical AutoCAD. It's AutoCAD. Yeah, drafting. The stuff I've been doing my whole life. The stuff that I started doing in 1989 when I left the group. The stuff that I was studying to do. That I wanted to start doing in 1987, but because David Koresh was an asshole. And the only thing see, David Koresh, whenever time, so pretend that this is like, that I'm standing here on this surface, and this is David Koresh's thumb. His task in life was to do that, like I'm here, and his task was to do this. Like that, all the time. That's the only thing he cared about, is to get me here under his thumb, and just, I'm not kidding. That was his goal. Oh, by the way, this is an interesting book. This is Inside the Cult. This is by Mark Bro and Martin King. It came out in 93. And if you can get this book, I recommend it. It's pretty good. It's accurate. It's got some good stuff in it. When I say good stuff, it's got some dark stuff in it. No, I'm not on drugs, I promise. I'm on new job that's great. Yeah. I don't take drugs. I don't even drink. Okay. So there you go. That's the quickie video. Vote. Stuff coming. It's fun. It's interesting. Interesting. Hopefully this video turned out as good as the last one that I wasted all that time on. It's shorter too. It was only 14 minutes. The other one was like 22. So I did faster. All right. Till next time. David Koresh, Adopted Son Part 3, coming either Saturday or Sunday. That way it gives me some flexibility. Sometimes I might be really super not lazy and get it out on Saturday. Other times I might be lazy and be like, I'll get it out on Sunday. So anyway, there you go. Till later.